Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 24 updates and spoilers. Hope you're all having a great Saturday so far. Our house guests of the day are Christine Caruso and Ayana. Thank you both so much for your support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. Yay! And before we get started, I also want to thank yesterday's super chatters because that's another fantastic way to support our channel. So Angela H, Deb Wicks, Daisha Dawn, Sean Davis, Darby C, and Belle Epoch. Thank you. Did I say that wrong? Sorry. Thank you. I'm uncultured. Thank you all so much for the support. Seriously. Oh my goodness. Okay, so when we left off yesterday, Michael was preparing to make his nominations. The leftovers had agreed on a plan for the week, and that plan was to backdoor Daniel. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? That's the obvious move here. There's tons of other things that could happen, but that is the obvious move. So Monty, Joseph, and Terrence are going to be the pawns. They volunteered to go up, or at least Monty and Joseph did. And here's where things get interesting. Michael has expressed to both Kyle and Brittany that ideally he would love to see Daniel and Kyle win the power veto this week and leave the nominations the same. So that would mean like the backdoor plan wouldn't go through, obviously. So in that case, Terrence would go, or maybe a shot would be taken at a bigger target, Monty or Joseph. So Michael and Brittany have discussed that they don't want those buff dudes to make it too deep into the game. It's going to be too hard to beat them in physical competitions. They want to go up against people that they feel like they have a better chance of beating. So another thing, this is really icky. Kyle has been throwing out this theory that Monty, Joseph, and Taylor are going to break off from the leftovers before the final 7 to form a Cookout 2.0 with Terrence, Jasmine, and Indy. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh my God. So Kyle is saying we need to keep Daniel and Alyssa around so that we'll still have the numbers to go up against this potential Cookout 2.0. This is gross. Kyle is basically trying to set up white people versus people of color. What the frig, man? Oh my God, it's so wrong. So let's set that aside for a minute. It will come back up again. But I want to know, would the votes be there for a big move this week, as in like taking out Monty or Joseph? And I have to say, it is possible. I would say probably not for Joseph to go, but I think the votes could potentially be there for Monty to go. So Jasmine, Alyssa, and Indy were chatting in the Jetsons' bedroom, and Alyssa says, we're probably all going to make it to jury because, if the season follows the trajectory of other seasons, jury should be starting after this eviction. And they feel pretty comfortable with Michael as HOH this week. So Alyssa says, Michael was telling me that he doesn't want to put up Jasmine and Turner because he doesn't know if Jasmine is going to even be medically cleared to play for the power veto this week. So Michael does not want to put Jasmine at risk, and she can't even go for the veto. So Jasmine's like, oh, I love that. That makes me happy. So Alyssa says the boys are probably going to be going up. Monty, Terrence, and Joe. And Jasmine's like, so then he's going to backdoor Daniel and Kyle? Is that what's going on here? And Alyssa says, yeah, I think that's the plan. But she says, if Daniel uses the power veto and leaves, if Daniel wins the power veto and leaves the nominations the same, that's not the worst thing that could happen. So Jasmine says, yeah, then we could get a big target out. But who would it be? Not Terrence. She doesn't want to get rid of Terrence. She feels pretty good about Terrence. And Alyssa says, well, we could get Monty out. They both agree they would want Joseph to stay. They feel really good about him. But Monty, not so much. And Indy says, I'll follow whatever you guys want. Whatever. I don't care. Is Indy actually playing? Sometimes I wonder. But Jasmine's like, aren't you close to Monty? Are you sure you'd be on board with that? And Indy says again, I will follow you. Okay. So Alyssa reminds them, Monty did nominate her and Indy last week, and he was trying to get Daniel to leave them up on the block. So they're not like super thrilled with Monty at this point. So Jasmine says that move really showed a lot of hands. Okay, so then it was time for the nomination ceremony. Sorry, I can't get comfortable here. As expected, Michael put up Monty, Joseph, and Terrence. We knew that was coming. In other news, hashtag Muffingate rages on. Indy and Alyssa were complaining that Turner never cleans the house. And Jasmine says, Turner touched my muffins. It sounds dirty. But she says, I don't want you touching my shit. She says, don't nobody want those nasty ass hands that hasn't showered for an entire week touching my muffins. Okay. So she says, I'm not trying to be mean. But she says, if that's you, that's you. You can do that outside of this house, but inside of this house, you have to respect everyone else's wishes. Don't make me feel bad for wanting stuff a certain way. This muffin thing is going really far now. But Jasmine says Turner never cooks for anybody. He never cleans for anybody. He wouldn't even pass me my chapstick. I'm sorry, but this is hilarious coming from Jasmine, who wants everyone to do everything for her. Turner is sick of it. He's over it. So, yeah, he's doing this whole Muffingate thing. But anyway, the feed's cut out for a few minutes. And then Jasmine is saying that she thinks that Alyssa and Kyle will have a baby next year. Oh, my God. And Jasmine says, if you guys have a baby next year, I'll have a baby next year. I think Kyle's mom is going to have something to say about this. She's not an Alyssa fan. Okay, so Big Brother put the house guests on lockdown for a little while. And during that time, they switched out the nominations chairs for a little couch. Because they got to have enough space for 3 butts at one time. Right? So anyway, that's fun. Terrence and Daniel were game chatting in the bathroom. These two are now like super, super tight because Daniel doesn't have Nicole anymore. And Terrence is his new number 1. So Terrence's best case scenario, you play in the veto, you win that mother effer, and you keep the nominations the same. Oh, Terrence wants to stay on the block. Are we sure about this? Well, I do think there's a chance that if nominations stay the same, maybe like Monty would go. There's also a chance that Terrence would go. So I would not be trying to stay up on that block if I were Terrence. But Daniel says once the Festy Besties twist is over, we're never going to have 2 powerful players up on the block like this again. You know, we've got Monty and Joseph up on the block. So Terrence says if you get them out now, it's easier. Why wait? You know, why are we putting this off? Maybe because you're like on the block with them and you never know what could happen. Do you really want to stay up there? Yeah. So Daniel says if we can get Monty or Joseph out this week, it's really going to weaken that big alliance. I mean, okay, they've been suspecting that there's this big alliance. But somehow Terrence is still like okay with staying up on the block. What? Wouldn't you be worried that like they're going to have the numbers to get rid of you? Doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, Daniel says there's no reason why anyone should vote Terrence out next to those 2 big guys. So Daniel says he would lose his mind if Terrence goes this week. Terrence is really keeping him sane right now. So Terrence says the best option for me right now would be to leave the nominations the same so that we can both stay safe. You know, I want to block that backdoor move from even happening. Gotta keep you off of the block. So Terrence says if the opportunity to sabotage during the POV competition arises, he says it wouldn't be that difficult for him to pull it off, to throw that comp, because he hasn't won anything yet. He's not some comp beast. So they'll just be like, oh man, like Terrence blew it again. Oh my God. I can't believe he's talking about potentially throwing this competition when he's on the block. So Daniel is hyped up. He's like, this is amazing. This is like a new life. Oh my God. So they're also, you know, they got to take the Festy Besties twist into account. If Daniel and Kyle were to win this veto, even if Daniel leaves the nominations the same, they're hoping that Kyle would leave them the same as well. Okay, so Michael, Taylor, and Brittany have a game chat in the HOH room, and they're ready for this Festy Besties twist to end. They're over it. It's becoming very complicated for their Leftovers alliance. They are running out of targets because of the pairings, right? Taylor would potentially target like Alyssa and Indy, but she's Festy Besties with them, so she wouldn't be able to touch them if she's HOH. They're running out of options here. But they're also wondering, when is the Leftovers alliance gonna split? Like, are they actually gonna go to the final 7 with each other, or are they gonna attack each other before that? Also, how will that alliance be splitting? There are 7 members. Who's gonna go with who? And they're wondering, which side will Turner go to? Or is he gonna go to our side? Our side meaning basically everybody except for Monty and Joseph. Or is he gonna go with Monty and Joseph? So we know that they have that guys alliance within the Leftovers, and it's called the Pound. But I don't really see that alliance sticking together. Because that, if you look at the breakdown there, you've got the Pound plus Taylor, Michael, and Brittany. But I don't see the Pound sticking together. I don't see Kyle wanting to move forward with Monty and Joseph. He seems very nervous about them. I don't think he thinks he can beat them. So it seems like it's not going to split that way. But it does seem at this point like it's Monty and Joseph on one side, and then it would be Brittany, Taylor, Michael, Turner, and Kyle on the other side, which is wild. So, yeah, Michael's saying he would like to think that Turner would want to take the big shot against Monty or Joseph. And Taylor says the big shot would be Monty, not Joseph. Monty is more of a threat to win this whole entire thing. I feel like people are really underestimating Joseph, though. Anyway, Brittany says Joseph has the girls. So if Monty were to leave, like soon, Joseph could just band together with Indy, Alyssa, and Jasmine. He's got a great social game going with them. He is way smarter than anyone gives him credit for. And obviously we know he's freaking cut. So he's going to be a huge threat in this game as well. They don't know where they stand with Terrence at this point because he tells everyone what they want to hear. True. It does seem like Terrence is most loyal to Daniel right now. But anyway, they're wondering, is Monty going to split off from our alliance and go with this other alliance that Indy was proposing? Because remember, when they had their Leftovers meeting the other night, Monty was very forthcoming and told them that Indy approached him about starting an alliance with Indy, Monty, Joseph, Terrence, and Jasmine. This is Kyle's nightmare. So they feel like it would be very enticing for Monty to go join that alliance and go to the end with weaker players. He could just clean up in those endgame competitions. People are going to vote for him if he makes it to the end. It would be hard to pass that up, right? So Taylor is also saying she does not want Monty to just ride the Leftovers coattails to the end, which this doesn't make sense to me because Monty just won HOH last week, and he made a huge move and took out Nicole, who could have been an ally for him. They were allies in their post-pack alliance, but he made a statement and took her out. So I don't know what she's talking about riding coattails. That doesn't make sense. But Taylor says, while Monty is not her target, she doesn't mind him touching the block. She feels like he needs to feel vulnerable in this game. He needs to have a turn being up on that block and being worried. So Brittany is nervous that Joseph and Monty could potentially throw the next few HOHs, let the rest of the Leftovers alliance do their dirty work for them and be the ones to take out Alyssa, Jasmine, and Indy. So then they would lose the jury votes from those girls, and the guys can be like, we played a clean game, vote for us. So Brittany's worried about that. Michael's like, well, we're just going to have to see how the guys do in the next few competitions. See if they're throwing or they're going for it. So at one point, Taylor says, okay, slap me for saying this, but Daniel on the jury could be good for all three of us, all three of our games. Because even if he doesn't like us on a personal level, he is targeting us for a reason. He respects the game that we're playing at least more than he respects the games that other people are playing. You know, he keeps saying everybody's sheep and handing the check over to Michael and Monty. So Taylor says, I think he would be more inclined to vote in our favor on the jury. I just want to make a note. Daniel has already told Michael if Daniel does not go up on the block this week and he makes it to jury, he would vote for Michael to win this whole thing. But of course, Michael's not going to share that with anyone. He doesn't want people knowing that. So Michael says, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Okay, so Taylor says, the only con, though, is that Daniel is way too strong of a player. You know, he can win competitions. He can make things happen here. And Brittany's like, yeah, I think Daniel is way too risky to keep around. He doesn't play logically. Like, we may think we know what he would do if he were to win HOH again, but he could do something completely different. So Taylor agrees with that. She's like, yeah, you're probably right. So Brittany says, also, she feels like Daniel would only vote for Taylor to win if he had lots of time to reflect on it and if he thought it would help his public persona, right? Because he's an actor. Looking back on how things went down this season, Daniel is going to want to avoid being canceled. So they're wondering, like, is Daniel still going to have a job after this? Okay, Taylor says there have been some heavy suggestions of where the outside world is rallying. And she says she's worried for Daniel. So it sounds like the diary room has been leaking some information, which is interesting. Of course, the feeds cut away from them as they start talking about this. I'm super curious what else has been leaked in that DR. I'm always wondering what the DR is pushing and what they're saying. But anyway, a little later, Michael and Brittany chat with Kyle in the HOH room, and Kyle's like, how's it going? Michael says everyone is pretty much focused on taking out Daniel this week, and it's good in a way that, you know, everybody's unified. It's not really going to get a lot of blood on Michael's hands, but Michael says, I'm also not really getting any new information from people in one-on-ones. There's no incentive for people to spill their guts to me if they know that Daniel is like the house target this week. So Kyle asks, has there been any whiff of me possibly going home this week? He's really worried that if he was on the block against Daniel, that people would just decide to vote him out instead. So Brittany's like, no, I really don't see that happening. I wouldn't worry about it. Michael says, if you do get picked to play for the power veto, though, I don't want you to throw it. Because there was some talk earlier about Kyle possibly throwing the comp so that he and Daniel would end up on the block. But Michael's telling him, no, if you get picked, you go for it. And Kyle says, yeah, if I have the chance to guarantee myself safety, I got to go for it, right? I don't want to feel like an idiot if I do throw it and then things go wrong. So Michael is like, don't say anything. But I was talking to Taylor earlier, and she brought up the possibility of keeping Daniel to be on the jury because he would vote based on gameplay. So Michael says Taylor's not saying that she necessarily wants to keep Daniel this week, but even knowing that there's like a sliver of a chance that maybe that could be a possibility, Kyle's like, that makes me nervous because, you know, if Daniel's staying, does that mean Kyle's going? But they clarify, no. We don't mean like you two are on the block and then we keep Daniel. He means it would be a situation where Kyle and Daniel wouldn't be going up at all. They'd take somebody else out. So Kyle is like, maybe Terrence just goes this week and you don't upset anybody with that move. That always makes me so sad when they're like, oh, get rid of this person and nobody's going to care. Ugh. But again, Kyle brings up the alliance that Indy wants to form with Terrence, Monty, Taylor, Joseph, and Jasmine. Kyle is not going to let this go. He is all over this. Yeah, that alliance is not a real thing. Do you think that Monty would actually present that to the group if it was something that he was serious about pursuing? Like, what? But anyway, Michael says he does not want Daniel to give up because he's not totally sold on taking him out this week, right? We got to see what happens with the power of veto. All right. So the rest of last night was honestly like pretty boring. They played some Chinese checkers. They're just hanging out, whatever. Okay. So then today they had the POV player picks. Taylor is hosting the competition, and the players are the HOH group, the HOH besties, Michael and Brittany, the nomination besties, Monty, Joseph, and Terrence, and then the two randomly selected besties, Turner and Jasmine. So yeah, no Daniel and Kyle in this competition. Uh-oh. So a lot of people were like, oh, I hope that secretly, like, I hope that Daniel and Kyle win the veto and then, leave the nominations the same. But now that's not going to be an option. So Daniel and Kyle are chatting in the gym, and they are bummed that they didn't get picked to play. And they're realizing, like, Jasmine might not even be able to play in the competition, which would mean it's like a 50-50 if Brittany and Michael win or if the trio of guys win. So they're not feeling like super great about that. But Kyle says if Jasmine and Turner win and use the power of veto, there would only be two options to go up. It would either be us or it would be the girl trio. And he's like, that's crazy. That's crazy that there's so few options right now. So Daniel's like, I'm going to start packing my bags now. And Kyle tells him, no, it's not a done deal. We don't know what's going to happen. They're really hoping that Michael will win the veto again and leave the nominations the same. So after, Daniel's by himself talking to the cameras, and Daniel's like, I'm going home. Wait for me, Nicole. I'll be home soon. He says, we had a shot at this, and it just didn't pan out. He was really banking on being able to play in this veto competition. But he says, I'm just happy that I had the opportunity to walk through that door. It's a dream come true, and I'm proud of it. Well, that's nice. I'm glad that he at least got to live out his dream of being on the show. Okay, so then Kyle is chatting with Brittany in the car bedroom. Honestly, like, I'm so sick of Kyle's strategy talks now. It seems like it started going downhill ever since he got into the showmans with Alyssa. He's just losing it game-wise. It's not good. And now that he's talking about this, like, Cookout 2.0 thing, it's, like, really hard to listen to. So, yeah, Kyle's chatting with Brittany in the car bedroom, and they're talking about how they want to keep Alyssa around for the long haul. Of course. I mean, honestly, like, some of the game points that they're making make sense, but also, like, we knew once this showman started with Kyle and Alyssa, he's going to be like, Alyssa has to stay. So they agree that Alyssa would be more likely to vote for them to win than like Jasmine or Indy would, because Jasmine and Indy are much closer to Monty and Joseph. So Kyle is thinking that Daniel should stay this week, because if he doesn't, Monty and Joseph have that other alliance as an option. He's talking about, again, the one that Indy is trying to put together with Indy, Terrence, Jasmine, Monty, and Joseph. So Kyle says Monty and Joseph are not going to target any of the people in that alliance. They're talking about taking out Daniel and then taking out Alyssa. So Kyle says, I'm starting to feel the way that I did before we put together the Leftovers alliance. I'm feeling uneasy about where I fall in the lineup. So Brittany says, I get what you're feeling, but also I don't feel super comfortable with Daniel. Like, there's no telling what he would do if he got power again. He's been throwing around Michael's name. Like, not super comfortable with Daniel sticking around. Brittany says she just wishes she knew if the Leftovers are going to stay solid until they get to the final 7. I feel like if anybody strikes first, it's going to be not Monty and Joseph. I feel like the other side of the Leftovers, the other 5 people in the Leftovers, well, not all 5 of them. I feel like Taylor is not as paranoid. But at least Michael, Brittany, and Kyle, they're all so paranoid about Monty and Joseph that I see them striking first. But again, Kyle is saying he's worried if Monty, Joseph, and Taylor are going to start an alliance of 6 with Jasmine, Terrence, and Indy, then we're going to be screwed. We're not going to have the numbers. So Brittany keeps telling him, like, I'm not really seeing this. I don't see that alliance forming. I don't see Jasmine and Indy working with Taylor. Like, seriously, they cannot stand Taylor. There's no way they would work together. So anyway, Brittany also says Taylor is closer to us than she is to Monty and Joseph. So if you look at the leftovers, it's like 5 against 2. So she's trying to reassure Kyle, like, stop freaking out. Okay. So then the feeds are down now for the Power Veto competition. Again, Taylor's hosting, and the players are Michael and Brittany, Monty, Joseph, and Terrence, and Turner and Jasmine. So if you want to check back later, I will post the winner in the info for this live stream. And that's where we're at. Just a reminder, I don't do live streams on Sunday. So, hi! The next one will be on Monday. Hi. But we will be back. Hello!
Oh, it's cool as a cucumber.
It's nice in here. We will be back on tomorrow for the episode recap.
Oh, I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah, right? Hi!
No,
Okay.
he just did bad things.
Oh, keep that mouth away, boy. Is he eating dookies? Oh, we know. Oh, he's a good boy, though.
Dirty boy.
You got a dirty mouth. Okay. I would like to thank all of our super chatters today. So Norm the Cat, thank you so much as always. Camila Gamba, thank you so much. And Camila says, much love to you from the Hubs, Billy, and I. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Shane Wright, thank you so much. And Shane says, I'll take Kyle or Daniel leaving this week. Right? Honestly, like, I'd be fine with Kyle leaving at this point. Even before Daniel. I'm just getting really sick of Kyle. It's too much. Too much. But yeah, what do you all think? Yeah, Kyle first. That's what I'm thinking too. So thank you all so much for being here. We will see you tomorrow for the recap. And that's that. So until next time, much love. Bye, everybody. Bye.